I think $100 a month for food should be enough. What? That's impossible. If you can't keep it down to $100, I'll divorce you. That's not possible. Are you the kind of person who thinks it's impossible from the start and doesn't even try? I didn't think you were such a pathetic person. I suddenly got angry when he said that. I said, okay, I will spend no more than $100 per month on food. My name is Mary, a 29-year-old housewife. My husband Kevin and I have been married for 1 year. We met at the party, started dating, and got married about a year later. He told me, I want you to be a stay-at-home wife after we get married. So I quit my job and became a housewife. I loved my job, but my new life with my husband was more important to me. So I chose to become a housewife without hesitation. After getting married, we had happy days. Every day, I made lunch for my husband and cooked elaborate meals for dinner. I was very happy that my husband enjoyed my cooking, saying, Mary's cooking is really delicious. At that time, his work was settled and he always left work on time and came home early. So we got along well and happy meals together. Recently, however, he seemed to be getting busier at work and he started coming home later and later. He usually came home after 6 p.m., but recently it's often after 9 p.m. He was working more and more. It also seems that the increased workload is because his boss expected him more. And especially on Friday, he goes out for drinks with his boss and comes home late at night. I felt lonely, but my husband works hard to make our lives better, so I couldn't complain. So I worked harder to make better lunches so that my husband can enjoy them. I made it so elaborate that it looked like an expensive restaurant meal, so I decided to make the same meal for myself too. I felt as if we were having a meal together by eating it around his break time. I hoped he would feel happy by eating it, even just a little. He seems to have noticed the change and said, You've been making me gorgeous lunches lately. Everything tastes great. He said happily when he came home. That made me so happy. After that, I continued to work hard on making lunch for him. Cooking had become my hobby. I took photos of our lunchbox every day and posted them on SNS. I had only a few friends and followers so far, but the number of likes and followers kept increasing. I had never seen anything like this before, so I was very surprised. I saw a few comments asking for recipes, so I started posting detailed recipes and photos. Then some people actually tried to copy the recipe and said, My husband said it was delicious. And I put it in my son's lunchbox and he said he wanted to eat it again. I thought if I try cooking it this way, it will taste even better. Or maybe using less of this spice would bring out the sweetness of the ingredients. As I continued to cook with these thoughts in mind, I created quite a few recipes. I never thought I would have a new hobby at my age. My husband was as busy as ever with work, working overtime or on holidays, so he was home less and less. But when I was alone, I studied nutrition and became a certified nutritionist. So I was not as lonely as thought I would be. Time passed by so quickly, and 2 years had passed since I got married to my husband. I thought it was time to have a baby and talk to him about it. But he just said, "Well, maybe." My husband's reaction was surprising because I remember talking about how we wanted 2 children before we got married. Does he think he wants kids but it's just not the right time yet? Or did his thought change? I was a little sad because I felt like we weren't communicating well with each other as a couple. I feel like my husband is not as interested in me as he used to be. Even when I want to make love with him, he says, "Sorry, I'm tired." He stopped talking about the lunches I made. I wondered if we got weary of married life and began to feel lonely. Then one day, he made a surprising comment. "Mary, don't you always make too elaborate lunches?" "What?" "I don't like it when you waste my money." "Don't call it wasting money. Besides, I don't spend so much money. I use reasonably priced ingredients and make yummy lunches." "That's impossible. You'd have to spend a lot of money to make lunches that look and taste that good." "No, that's not true. Just a little ingenuity and preparation can make a big difference in taste." "Don't lie. You always take photos of the lunches you make and post them on SNS, don't you?" "What? I didn't think my husband knew that, but he didn't seem to have seen everything." "Stop thinking about making it look gorgeous on SNS. It's embarrassing that my wife spends all the money to get lots of likes. I can't allow my earnings to be used to satisfy your need for approval." "Why do you say that? I don't use SNS for that." "At first, I was just uploading photos because I thought they looked good. And now I'm trying to see how good I can make them look and taste good with reasonable ingredients so that people can easily copy the recipe." No matter how much I tried to explain to my husband, he wouldn't understand me. "No need for excuses. $100 a month for food is enough." "What?" I was stunned. It would be extremely difficult to keep food costs down to $100 for 2 people. My husband rarely cooks, so he has no idea how much groceries cost. I also have to buy drinks, seasonings, oil, and so on. It's impossible to keep it down to $100. "Wait, that's impossible." "Why not? You've been cooking for a long time, haven't you? If so, you should be able to do that. If you can't keep it lower than $100, I'm divorcing you." "What? Divorce? You're crazy." I couldn't understand why my husband was so mean to me. He used to be so kind. Why had he changed? "It's not fair. You should tell me if there's something you don't like about me. Don't make impossible demands on me." I tried to make him understand, but he wouldn't listen to me. "You're the kind of person who thinks it's impossible from the start and won't even try, aren't you? I didn't think you were such a pathetic person. I knew you were cooking to satisfy your need for approval." I suddenly got angry when he said that, and I said, "All right, Then I'll use less than $100 a month. Then you won't complain, will you? No, just do it. I didn't care that he had changed anymore. I decided to focus on the mission to keep the food budget lower than $100 a month. From then on, I put a lot of energy into my cooking. Instead of buying retold foods and sauces, I made my own food from scratch using spices and other ingredients. I also searched supermarkets and the internet for cheap meat, vegetables, pasta noodles, and drinks, bought them in bulk, and froze them. In this way, I succeeded to keep food expenses under $100. But my husband didn't even ask me about the results. I was so disappointed by that. But in case he'll say something about food expenses again, I continued to keep the food budget under $100. And I wanted to enjoy that, so I made a new project on SNS about two people's $100 a month food budget life. As before, I would post recipes so that people could copy what I was doing to save money. I saw comments that people wanted to see a video of the cooking. So I started uploading videos of a brief summary of the cooking process on SNS. The response was surprisingly positive, and the number of subscribers to my SNS channel increased rapidly. And I was able to monetize the channel in a short time. I was surprised at how amazing the world had become. The more people who watched my videos, the more motivation I had to keep going, and the more recipes I developed. Then my husband said he would go on a business trip for 3 days, the week after next. I thought, then I won't have to cook. So I planned to go to my parents' house. My parents' house was far away and I would have to fly there. So I immediately booked a plane ticket. And the day came quickly, and my husband left the house in the morning with his carry case. He said he would go to his office and then go to the airport. I also went to the airport with my luggage a little after he left. My luggage was small enough to fit in my backpack, so I was able to leave the house quickly. When I arrived at the airport, I was relaxing with a cup of coffee at a cafe, responding to comments on videos on SNS. Then I heard my husband's voice in a crowded place. I instantly recognized his voice because I'm used to hearing it. I looked toward the voice and saw him walking in front of the cafe. I was about to call him when I spotted a strange woman walking beside him, and she was holding his arm as if they were intimate. I couldn't take my eyes off them. That was definitely my husband. Was he having an affair? Was it a lie that he was on a business trip? I couldn't believe what was happening and froze there for a while. The time for my flight had come, so I went back to my parents' house with a blurred feeling. My parents greeted me warmly, but they noticed my sad face and asked me what's happened. They were so angry with my husband and said, "What a bastard." After that, I felt better and enjoyed staying there. My mother's cooking was delicious, and I fondly remembered how I had tried my best to cook like her when I first started living on my own. After relaxing there, I returned home and immediately requested a detective agency to investigate my husband. It was good. I had lots of advertising income. A few weeks later, they found out that my husband was having an affair. The woman was apparently a junior colleague at work, and apparently their relationship had been going on for about 6 months. It was around the time when my husband started working overtime and started working on weekends. Did he tell me to save money on food because he was spending too much money on the woman? I felt furious. He told me to do a crazy mission because he just wanted to spend more money on her. I decided to get back at him. The next day, I stopped cooking for him. He said, "Hey, where's my lunch?" It's hard to keep a food budget lower than $100, so I stopped cooking. Here, I gave him $2. Huh? What am I supposed to buy with this? You can buy a cheap hamburger. You've got to be kidding me. I can't fill my stomach with that. Even if the food budget is $100 a month, I could use more. $2 for 5 days a week means $40 a month. And with the remaining $60, I have to prepare dinner every day for a month. Well, you could do that if you eat French fries every night. You've gotta be kidding me. I'll get sick if I keep eating unhealthy food like that. But dinner would have to be within $1.50 to keep the $100 limit. $1.50 a day means $45 for 30 days. Including lunch, it's already $85. We have to keep a drink bill under $15 for 30 days. My husband finally seemed to understand how difficult it was to keep the food budget within $100. Wait a minute. So all the lunches and dinners you've been making have cost over $100 a month? No, I kept it within $100 because I tried really hard. So why don't you just continue to do that? I don't want to. You won't be my husband anymore. That's why I told you how to keep your food expenses under $100 without me. What? What do you mean? I showed him divorce papers. Divorce? Why all of a sudden? I've been preparing for it ever since I found out you were having an affair. When I said this, my husband's face turned pale. What do you mean by affair? Don't act innocent. I showed him the photos which proved the affair and said I had an investigation done and got proof. Now you can't lie to me, so I demand divorce and consolation money from you. My husband was stunned with his mouth open, but then he said, I may have had an affair, but you would be in trouble if we get divorced, wouldn't you? You're a housewife, and if you suddenly become single, you wouldn't be able to get enough money to live, would you? Your parents' house is very far too. It would be better to forgive me for once and stay married. I'm appalled and said, actually, I'm making a pretty good income right now. What? I'm getting all kinds of business from social networking sites. I've been getting a lot of ad revenue from my videos, and I'm also publishing a book of a money-saving recipe. A recipe book? You're publishing a book? To be honest, I'm making more money than you right now. So, it'll be no problem for me to get divorced. Or, My husband seemed shocked by the fact that his income is less than a full-time housewife whom he had looked down. He nodded and couldn't talk anymore. Anyway, fill in the divorce papers. Then, I left the house with the luggage I had packed beforehand. After that, I communicated with my husband through an attorney and got divorced. My husband and the adult nurse partner also paid me consolation money. As for this affair, my husband and I had a mutual acquaintance at his workplace, so it quickly spread throughout the company. Apparently, my ex-husband is being looked at quite coldly, saying that he's a scumbag for betraying his wife who made him elaborate lunches every day. The adult nurse partner couldn't bear the situation and quit the company. My ex-husband is having a hard time because he has to pay consolation money and pay tribute to the adult nurse partner, so he can't quit his job and is working really hard in an uncomfortable atmosphere. I, on the other hand, have moved into a nice room with a system kitchen and can cook very comfortably. My recipe book has been successfully published and sales are going well. I would like to continue to cook a variety of dishes and enjoy my life. It is honestly too much to ask to keep the food cost for 2 people lower than $100 a month. And the reason why he asked for that is that he wanted money to buy things for his adult nurse partner, which is just too much junk. But thanks to such a scumbag husband, he got into cooking and even published a book. So it was good in the end. Now that she can earn enough money on her own, she can slowly look for a partner. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel if you like. See you in the next video.